Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this past week has been filled, especially today, with a lot of interesting news. And so the first thing is iPhone 12 Pro Max and iPhone 12 have this millimeter wave antenna on the side, but a lot of countries don't get that. In fact, this is sort of exclusive to the United States right now. However, Apple supposedly ordered a bunch of new millimeter wave components, as well as sort of securing a new supplier to provide those components. So that means that they'll either come a little bit later in iPhone 12 Pro or 12 Pro Max models, or may come into play when the iPhone 13 comes out. So we may be seeing those later on, but either way, that's good. It means it's coming to more countries for those of you that have the 5G millimeter wave availability in your area. Now, according to Ming-Chi Kuo, the iPhone SE Plus is still in the works. So the iPhone SE Plus is said to be sort of the same size as the iPhone 6s Plus or the iPhone 8 Plus, but instead of being rounded off like this and sort of having the Touch ID sensor on the front and these huge bezels, apparently it's going to be more full screen like the iPhone 12 Pro Max, something along those lines, where the power or sleep wake button becomes the fingerprint sensor. Now, we saw this in the new iPad Air where they have a power button that you just put your thumb on. We've seen other manufacturers do this, so that seems to make a lot of sense to me, and it would be nice just for the iPhone 12 series phones to have that as well. It would be great to have that on your power button just to quickly unlock if you don't have the ability to use Face ID. So that would be great to see. Now, the next thing is AirTags. Now, a lot of people are saying, why are you still mentioning AirTags? It's a rumor. It's not there. Well, it's actually in the code of iOS 14 betas, and iOS 14.3 actually has it in the code ready to go using Find My. It just hasn't been activated yet. And according to John Prosser, this is what they'll look like according to some internal leaks he had from an engineer, supposedly. So they'll look like these round discs, and you'll be able to put them in a backpack, locate them, and they just haven't launched because apparently we haven't needed them yet, since many people have been in their homes and not out and about. But eventually you could have those tags, put them in your backpack, and then they sort of bounce off, relaying between different Apple products to tell you where your product is should you lose it, or to tell you where your backpack is, or wherever you've placed the AirTag. So that's something I think we'll see with Find My fairly soon. You'll have a new tab at the bottom, apparently, for AirTags to locate your devices. So that would be really nice to see that, and I look forward to it if that's something that comes out. I think it's just delayed, but it's definitely in the code. It's there. I've seen it myself. They've mentioned it. It's just a matter of time before it comes out. And according to Ming-Chi Kuo, it should be coming out in 2021. Now, he said that it'll be coming out along with the mini LED displays. And mini LED is the next sort of move forward from LED, and that should be in the iPads. So we should see that in the iPads. I've mentioned this many times before. It should help with better backlighting and possibly battery life overall. So hopefully we'll see something like that, and then maybe roll out to all the different displays. And it's sort of the next step until we get to micro LED, which is sort of the thing after OLED. So we're sort of working toward that. Mini LED will be next, and we should see that hopefully in upcoming iPads fairly soon. Now, the iPhone 13, and this is not an iPhone 13. This was just sort of a mock-up of the 12 that actually runs Android. I've shown it in a different video, but apparently the iPhone 13 series will all have the LiDAR sensor that the 12 Pro Max has. So you'll have the ability to use it for augmented reality, scan different rooms, things like that, and supposedly we'll see that with this particular upcoming phone. So the iPhone 13 series will have LiDAR supposedly in all of them, not only for augmented reality, but autofocus as well. So it'd be great to see that, be able to use that. And with augmented reality, again, Ming-Chi Kuo is saying that we should see not only those AirTags, not only mini LED displays, but also an augmented reality device, meaning that you could use your phone, whether that be through the camera, to overlay augmented reality, but a separate device such as maybe glasses or something like that. But he just says device. He doesn't say glasses, so maybe there's something else in the works. It's hard to say at this point, but we could see something soon like that. Now, also, Apple is still working on foldable phones, and according to the Economic Daily News, Apple has completed design testing for 2 new foldable designs. One of them would be similar to dual screens, where you would fold them, unfold them, and then it would be more seamless across the edge, similar to what the Microsoft Duo has, but more of a seamless edge where you could use both screens. But then they're also working on one like the Galaxy Fold, so it would be a singular, flexible display display that they're working on. Now, these are in the works. Apple's testing them, durability testing hinges and things like that. And according to Foxconn, who is the supplier, or at least someone in Foxconn, they've durability tested these, and they're through their first phase. Now, this is just from the supply chain leaks. This is not from Apple themselves, but usually this is spot on as far as them actually testing things. Whether or not they'll eventually come to market is hard to say, but we probably won't see those for another couple of years if we do see them. So Apple is working on them, but it'll be a little bit. Now, a lot of you have been asking me when to expect iOS 14.3.1 to fix some bugs, or maybe 14.4 beta 2 and a final version of 14.4. And what I had to do is go back a couple years to see what Apple has done, because they don't officially announce anything as far as when they're releasing updates, unless it's a major update and they've told a few different sources. However, this year, it's hard to say because 2 years ago, in 2019, Apple released iOS 12.1.3 Beta 3 on January 7th. That was actually a Monday. In 2020, they released it on January 14th with 13.3.1 Beta 2. So that means we could see an update this week or next week based on that information. Either way, I would say we would see one. It would really surprise me, I think, this time around if we don't see one sometime this week, whether that be tomorrow or later in the week. But at the latest, I would think the week of the 10th, somewhere in there, that we would see an update. It's possible Apple could push it out even further, but I think we'll see at least a beta update by then so that we can get things sort of nailed down with this update. 14.4 beta 1 hasn't been great, and many of you ask about my battery life, and that has not been great on this beta. So this particular beta, I'm not getting great battery life at all. Maybe 6 hours to 7 hours of screen on time, where I would normally get 10 to 12 when I had 14.3, for example. So it is a beta. I don't expect amazing battery life from it, but hopefully we'll see something in the future with that. Now, according to Digitimes, Apple is also working on smaller chargers using gallium nitride. Apparently, a supplier has said that they've received orders to use them. And what that means is basically you would get the same power output in a smaller charger, like this Anker charger. So this is an Anker charger. This is the PowerPort 3 Nano, and it would give us a smaller footprint overall and provide the same power output. These are super convenient. I've used these for quite some time, and I'll actually link them in the description below if you'd like to get your hands on one. They're something I use regularly because they're convenient, small, and since the iPhones don't come with chargers anymore, you can just throw these in a backpack and they take up way less space than the traditional Apple chargers that we have now. So whether it be an 18 watt like this one or a 20 watt, you can have a much smaller one, and I would really like to see Apple at least come out with these and still include them with their phones, but at least come out with some new ones that are USB-C. Now, we've all been waiting for the next generation AirPods, whether that be AirPods Lite or AirPods Pro Lite or whatever they're going to call them. But it looks like, at least according to Mr. White, which this is kind of an interesting rumor, there could be two sizes of the next AirPods Pro. So AirPods Pro 2 may come in a couple different variants where you would have maybe this size or something similar to this and a smaller size for those with smaller ears. I know not everyone finds these to be very comfortable, so it would make sense to offer a couple different variants, just like they do with the Apple Watch, for example, where you could go back and forth between whichever one works for you. Whether or not that will just be a Pro and then maybe a Pro Lite and they're different sizes is hard to say, but the rumor is kind of hit or miss maybe, but apparently there's two different builds that they're working on for them. It could just be prototypes that they're working on to see which one works best, though. Now, finally, Apple is apparently working on new keyboards for their MacBooks. And this wouldn't necessarily replace the scissor keyboards per se, but instead you would be able to customize the keys individually. So we've seen this before in the past from Art Lebedev, where he actually came out with a desktop-based keyboard where you could change each keycap individually based on what you want to do. So what that means is basically you could change the D, W, S, A or WASD to arrow keys, and they would show arrow keys on the display. Now, there's an advantage to this, of course, because you could fully customize your keyboard, but then the disadvantage is it will use power. So maybe they'll use something like e-ink, but either way, patently Apple found a patent where they appear to be working on something like this. Apple's always testing new ideas, and so it seems to make sense that they could do something really interesting with that. And so that's it for this week's news. If an iOS update comes out, of course, I'll let you know and do a video on that. And if you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, I'll link it in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.